Hey there, fellow streakers. How are you doing today? It is Jeff and Jamie, and we're back with you on another podcast. So exciting to be here, and you love it when I do this, don't you?
I do love it when you do that. Good morning. I feel like, okay, you're wearing a headset today that has this little microphone popped up, and I'm waiting for you to like give the traffic report or the weather report.
So I sound like a weather reporter?
Well, I don't know. Well, and then I'm looking out. Here's our weather report for the day. If you're anywhere close to Georgia, it's very humid today.
Yes, very humid today. In fact, outside on our run, it was a shower within the first, I'd say 2 minutes.
It was humid.
Maybe minute and a half.
But it's beautiful. Anyway, you look great.
Oh, thanks, honey.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
that. You look great, too.
Thanks. Welcome to our podcast.
Yeah, it's excellent to have everyone out there. We are so excited. We are just, days away from the book being released.
I think 11 days.
Yeah, 11 days. And
So
a lot of
literally
people have been ordering the book. We've been sending out quite a few books, pre-release copies of the book to people who wanted it signed.
Yes.
And it's been just a lot of fun.
They're flying out the door.
Flying out the door. They're hotcakes.
Hotcakes just flying out the door.
So thank you to all of you who have already ordered and those of you who are waiting for your copy to be released through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Indie Books.
They're coming soon.
They're coming. They're right around the corner.
And the app is coming too.
You know, the thing that we've talked a lot about the community of the app, or the community we talked about as far as I think last week on the app and so forth, which is absolutely stellar and stunning because here's the thing. All right. We were talking with, who was it? One of our streakers. And she was saying she's a beta tester for the app. And she was saying how prior to the streaking app, she kept track of her streaks using other apps that are out there because there's other apps that are out there, habit trackers and things like that.
Right.
And she said, what I love about the streaking app is the community part of it. In other words, there's no other thing where I can share a particular thing that I'm going to do every day with someone else. That is pretty darn cool.
It's really fun. And it just gives you this boost of energy of feeling that there's people out there supporting you and that you're supporting people, which is an interesting thing because, to be honest, that's what got me started on my whole running streak in the first place, was watching you run that first marathon when I was back when I was anti-running. Uh-huh. And I watched you.
Okay, but get this. She was anti-running. I don't know if everyone heard that, but she was. When you say anti-running, you mean it. I mean.
Yeah, I just didn't.
You thought
it was a
nuts.
hard thing for me, and I didn't understand why people would want to do it. And so I went, and it took a lot of time, and I was just like, and I truly didn't believe that I would ever be able to run very far ever in my whole life. Right. But when I went to that marathon that you had signed up for, and I watched those people cross that finish line, there was a synergy there, and that's what I feel that we're trying to recapture in the community, is that feeling of just, I didn't know any of the people running in that marathon, but I genuinely was like, I love you. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. Like I felt that it was inspiring.
Yeah. And that is, so there's two parts of the community, or we've talked about community and the three communities that you can be a part of. The first is your core community, where it's just going to be people that are close to you, and they may or may not have similar or common streaks.
Right, but they love you and care about you, and they want you to succeed.
And then you've got the next level, which is people with the same streak.
Right.
When the app is released, the first, right around the first, or excuse me, not the 1st of September, we're already there. When the book is released,
22nd.
On the 22nd, when the app is released, it's going to have the first level of community that will be available to everyone. And then as people continue to sign on to the app, we'll have the second level available, which is people with common streaks.
Right, which I think is going to be super fun and exciting.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's going to be a fun thing to be a part of.
Because the other thing that I've really enjoyed as far as just with the core community is being able to see other people's streaks and how that's inspired me to think about my streaks and what some of the ones I might want to consider or do differently or look at and say, you know what, that's a really good streak. I ought to do that one.
I agree. It's fun. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited too. One of the things that we're going to do as well is we'll have on the website, streakingmastery.com, we'll have a tutorial. Basically, Jamie and I will walk through the app and just show you kind of some of the ins and outs about it. And that will be released right up on September 22nd. Everything's around September 22nd.
Everything's coming.
Yeah.
Around the corner.
So today we wanted to talk a little bit about Laughably Simple. And I know we visit this one quite a bit, and I know that we visited it in podcasts in the past. However, it is the one when people get introduced to streaking that is the hardest to believe.
Isn't that interesting? It's the hardest. It's one of the hardest things. So as more people are reading, as more people read the book and kind of start looking at this, I think it's good to talk about it because it is hard.
It
It
is.
sounds funny, but making something laughably simple is difficult.
And why is it difficult?
It's difficult to believe. That's what I think it is. It's totally difficult to believe. And we had a discussion about this a while ago because I've asked myself the question a lot. There's a section in the book where our daughter had an experience that she had a streak and she was just doing the minimum of her streak. So she stopped doing that. And we asked, well, how much have you done since you stopped? And she said none. And I thought about that. I've thought about that a lot. I'm like, why are we more comfortable doing nothing than we are with doing something super small towards that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is that okay? Why is that something that we're okay to live with?
And that is something that's real. I mean, I've faced it quite a bit. Before we started streaking, I faced it quite a bit. It's like, well, if I'm not able to write 6 or 7 pages, I'll wait until I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll wait until, okay, I'm going to block this period of time and I'm going to get 6 or 7 pages in. And so I go to that period of time and I sit down to write, and it's like every other thing in the world is more important than that
right.
period of time
or
that
you,
I'm writing.
Or you can't think of a single thing to write. You're like, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Which is frustrating.
Or
go ahead.
Sorry. Or well, go ahead. You
Well, I was just going to say, I think part of what happens is that these things that we're talking about, I mean, if you're going to do a streak around something, it obviously has value in your life. It's something that you want to have be a part of your life. So it means something to you. And I think sometimes when we look at doing something laughably simple
right
around something that has so much value to us,
right,
it almost seems like a slap in the face to that thing. Where instead of, and I think what we want is we look at this thing that we want to do and we're like, it's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give it the weight and the value that it deserves. I want to. And so I think 2 things happen in our heads. We think, okay, this is important and I want to be able to spend some quality time doing this thing. And then life gets busy and we think, okay, it didn't happen today, but tomorrow, I have a lot of hope that tomorrow I'm going to be able to spend that quality time on that thing that's really valuable to me.
Yeah.
And so in that way, we become okay with doing nothing instead of something simple, because the simple doesn't seem like it's giving it the weight and the value that we really feel that this thing has in our life.
That's really insightful.
And
I mean, as I
so-
think about that, as far as, so the value that I assign something is based on how much time and energy I can devote to it in a single setting.
Yeah. Like
Is
you
that-
want to,
I mean,
I think so. Just kind of thinking through it. It's like, I want to give this the real, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it well and do it. And so you think that just doing something laughably simple, it's almost saying, in a way, maybe in our minds, we're thinking, well, that's just me communicating that it's not that important to me.
Right.
But it's actually, I think, the total opposite.
And it's the total opposite. Why, though? What is it that comes to your mind as far as that's concerned?
Because what we're doing is saying, this thing is so valuable to me. I want to devote a little bit of my day every day to making sure that this is a part of my life. And the way to do that, to have that consistency, is by saying, okay, I'm going to make it laughably simple, laughably small. Even though that seems like it's the opposite, that it's saying, well, that's, I want to give this thing credit and value.
Mm-hmm.
But by putting it on your list of things that you're going to do that day and giving it that place, I think back to the painting, the Georgia Seurat painting of the dots, giving it its dot.
She's remembering this because we had to look at that name several times in order to say it correct on the
Georgia
audiobook.
Seurat.
We just finished recording the audiobook, and I think we recorded that chapter maybe 3 different times, maybe 4. And Georgia Seurat
Yes.
was one of those that we had
That's
to
one
say
of the-
several
Who
times.
did the beautifully large painting.
So what is it? 10 feet wide by 6 or 7 feet tall.
Yes, it's enormous. You don't really understand the magnitude of it until you see it
And
in
when
person.
you're in the art museum, what is it?
The Art Institute of Chicago.
Yeah, the Art Institute of Chicago Museum.
Yes.
And you walk up to it and you actually see how significant it is and realize that he painted it one single dot at a time. Is absolutely, it blows you away.
Yes. So that's what I think because I've thought so much
so
about.
So the dot in and of itself doesn't hold that much value, does it?
That's what I think we think, is
Okay.
we're like, it's just a dot. And I want this big, beautiful 10-foot painting. And there's something inside of us that thinks that 10-foot painting is going to come when we've got the time and the energy to really give it the value it needs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I feel streaking has taught me is that 10-foot painting comes with each dot, that dot has value, and
right.
that the bigness, the grandness of it comes in the consistency of doing that.
So if I miss a dot, let's say I miss a dot for a day, I miss painting that dot for a day, does it really make that big of a difference?
So that was the second thing I was going to
okay.
bring up, is that sometimes, so I've had one friend that has wanted to start a streak, but she's afraid to start it small because she's like, if I start it small, that's all I'll ever do. All I'll ever do is that tiny little small thing. I won't ever.
So that's a little bit different though than what we were just talking about, as far as looking at it and saying, one, I'm not adding the value to it. I'm not giving the value necessary. So by not giving it the value, in other words, by doing the laughably small things, I'm devaluing how important that
right.
thing is in my life. That's one side of it. The other side that it sounds like you're talking about right now is credibility in myself, my self-credibility.
Yes. Yeah, that this fear that if I make it so small, all I'm ever going to do is the so small.
Why is that scary? I mean, what if I do just the so small?
I don't know. I think it goes back to that same feeling that the small isn't going to add up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, and I'm right there with you. I think that because as I think about that whole thing, as far as does the small actually add up, I've got to suspend my disbelief.
Yep.
There's this thing in movies that when you go to a movie, they have to hit this note. It's this little tone of suspension of disbelief. In other words, I got to believe that Star Wars exists in some universe out there in order to be able to enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. And if I don't believe that, if you can't hit that tone of suspension of disbelief, then it really doesn't work. And you walk away from the movie going, yeah, that really didn't work. But if I can hit that note where it's just, okay, I'm going to suspend my disbelief, and the note is hit in such a way that I can actually do it, then it's really enjoyable. And the whole experience becomes something that's significant to you as far as a movie is concerned. Now, mm-hmm. in our world of streaking, you have to suspend your disbelief on this laughably small thing. I'm telling you, it is something that you're just going to have to, in your brain, do everything you can to hit the pause button on belief or on doubt. Hit the pause button on doubt. Just look at it and say, I'm going to suspend my disbelief. I'm going to take it and set it aside, and I'm going to do this laughably small thing. So, for example, one of our streakers out there, Katie, she has as one of her streaks.
She loves doing. She loves recording kind of the things that have happened in her family and having that kind of book at the end of each year that shows all the pictures. She's great at taking pictures, and so she likes having the record of this. And so the way she's been doing that is through the Project Life app, which helps her to stay on top of everything.
And I'm not familiar with that app, but
I'm
apparently
not super familiar with it either, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so that was one of her streaks, was to just open the app. That was the streak.
That was
Open the Project Life app daily. That's the only thing she has to do.
So going down the vein that we were talking about, if she didn't suspend disbelief and said, if I have that as my streak, just to open the app daily, I'm really not going to do anything, because I lack the credibility in myself. I lack my own looking at myself and saying, I'm not going to do this.
Exactly.
I really won't. I mean, how many of us absolutely lack credibility in
ourselves? And why do we have that?
Yeah.
Because we've let ourselves down in the past.
Yeah.
We know our failures.
How many New Year's resolutions have I let go?
Right. And so
I could make a streak of that.
So you asked earlier when we were talking about the painting, the Georges Seurat painting, Le Grand on, what is it?
on Lagrange jet.
Great. Now we're gonna forget the name of the
yeah,
painting.
We got it right in the book.
Totally
No,
a famous
it's
painting.
a Sunday on Lagrange jet. Oh, I'm awful at it.
Sunday
Sorry.
on Lagrange
I think
Jet.
you had that one
I
in
did
the
have
chat.
that part.
You had that chapter in the book.
On the Seine River.
On the Seine
Anyway,
River.
It's
Yes.
a beautiful painting.
Yes, it is.
The point was, you asked, does one dot make a difference? And the reason that each of those dot makes a difference is that each dot represents that credibility. That was one thing that Katie had mentioned, is she said, as I've done this, those days that I do less on my project life, I'm okay because I know I did it yesterday. I know I'm going to do it again tomorrow. So it gives me permission to be okay with doing a little bit, because you're gaining credibility within yourself. You're like, I've been doing this for a while and I know I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
Now, this is a really cool story, though, too, right? Because you were just talking to her just the other day.
I was, and she's had this streak for a little while. I think maybe a year or longer. I'm not exactly sure how long she's had it.
Yeah.
But when I was talking to her, she said, I have done more than I have ever been able to do before. She goes, I'm almost totally caught up. And she said, it's been amazing because I just do a little bit every day. So I asked her, I said, do you ever have days where you literally just open the app? And she said, I do. She goes, I just had one the other day where it was really late. I was really tired. I didn't have the energy to even add a little text to a picture. And she said, I literally opened the app and closed the app and went to bed. But the freedom to be able to do that, she said, the reason I could do that is because I knew I had done it yesterday and I knew I would go back to it tomorrow. And so it gives you that credibility, gives you the permission to do something small. And then on those days, it's amazing that you do have those days that you do more. They happen.
So the thing I go back to is this suspension of disbelief, because as I listen to you tell the story and I think about Katie and being so tired for the day and looking at her streaks that she's keeping and says, okay, I've got to open the Project Life app. I haven't done anything with that today. I'm just going to open it and close it. That's just checking the box, if you will.
Truly just checking the box.
And what you're saying and what we're saying together and what we have found is that just checking the box has significant value in self-credibility.
Yes.
See, that's where it comes in, because people may say, well, you know, and if you're listening to this for the first time and you're thinking about it and you're saying, these people are insane. Just open an app and close it. They're absolutely nuts. What I look at is it's the credibility for myself. You know, I am credible. I did what I said I was going to do.
Yep. And
it was simple enough that I could do it. You see, that is the key as you look at this, as you start your streaks, as you start looking at your streaking journey. You're establishing your own self-credibility. And by establishing your own self-credibility, it gives you a base, a foundation to have success. And that success allows you to have even more success. Success is contagious.
It is. And it just builds something inside of you. So the reason she was able to open the app and close the app that day is because of what she had done and what she knew she was going to do.
So let's walk that out just a little bit further.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt there. But let's just say she did that for 2 weeks. That's all she did for 2 weeks.
Was
or for
open
3
the app
weeks.
and close the app.
What do you think?
That's a good question. So what if you do hit a time in life where things have, I guess my first part is that the thing is that when you open and close it, you're still making it a part of your life. And so there's a part of you that if it's truly something you want to do, it feeds into that, oh, I want to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so you do a little bit more.
You do?
You do.
You got a little doo-doo going on?
A little doo-doo. You do more because you're excited. It's something you want to be a part of your life.
Right.
But let's say you do hit a part of life where something has happened and you literally are just opening and closing that app.
Yeah.
You're still giving it a place.
Yeah.
It may be just holding a place for a little while and you're going to get back to it. But again, you have that confidence that you're going to get back to it. And while you had to put maybe some of things on hold where you just open and close the app for a while, you still acknowledge that this is something you want to be a part of your life.
So one, you start to overcome this idea that it's not going to make a difference.
Right.
Because two, you establish your own self-credibility. And the thing that I see, and that you've said so much, and I've listened to and learned a lot from, is your mind share starts to go there. Because if she opens and closes that app for 3 weeks in a row, I mean, and just every single day does that, and that's the only thing she does, I would bet a lot of money to say she's thinking about it in the day and saying, you know what, I want to devote a little bit of time to that
Yep.
today. I'm going to open my app at this time and be able to do 2 or 3 things in
Right.
there.
Or I'm just, or maybe sometimes it's like, okay, I got to do more than just open the app. I'm just going to add a picture today.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to add text to that picture today.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to, each little thing that you do when you're doing something every day,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of a period of time, you look back and you're like, oh, I actually got some stuff done.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you look back and you're like, oh, I got a lot of stuff done. Like it builds up, and that gives that, I just wish I could, it just does something inside of people. It
Yeah.
really does. And so what happens is, instead of this idea that you have to give it this full length of value, I've got to give it some real solid time and really show that this
That
thing
it's
is
valuable
important
to
to
me.
me. Now you've switched and you're like, I am showing that this is important to me every single day. I'm showing that this is important to me. And as I look back, I can see.
Let your consistency be the currency of the value.
Yes. Let your consistency. That's great. You should say that again.
Let your consistency be the currency of your value.
Yes.
That's really what it is.
That's good.
Yeah.
You just came up with that straight off the
It just,
cuff,
it
huh?
came right there. I
But
was
it's
looking at you,
good.
you were looking at me, and I thought that's what it is. It's currency.
It's
The
currency.
consistency is the currency, and that shows the value. I'm paying, or I'm showing and paying the value through my consistency every single day.
Every single day. So our challenge is to suspend your disbelief for a little bit. Give it 100 days.
And
Try
it is
it out.
amazing. Yeah, try it out.
Try it out. Give it 100 days. And trust that your credibility in yourself is going to grow, and believe that because you're doing something little every day, what you're communicating is that this thing has value to me and it's important to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a little bit of my day every day. And that consistency is the currency that I'm going to show. It's going to become valuable.
And I'm right there with you, and it's absolutely amazing. I still kind of geek out about it, that it works so well. I mean, even after 5 years, 6 years now, almost, that we've been doing this, it's amazing that laughably small thing. So don't let the value be determined by how much time and energy you spend on it in a moment. Let the value be determined by how consistent you are
in doing it.
Well, wow. That was a great conversation. That's all we have for this week.
That was great. And I just love it. Thank you. This was fun to talk about today.
Thank you, everyone. And we hope that you found some value in this conversation, and give it a shot. Give it a try. If you find that you're struggling with something within streaking, please drop us a line. Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at streakingmastery.com, or
Jamie, Jami, at streakingmastery.com.
Well, and until we talk to you again, have a wonderful day and keep streaking.
And you're already feeling blue. Go big or go home, they say, but I can show you a simpler way. It's the small and simple things that make the life we live worth living. Among the rush, do one push-up, become a better you. It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping. You're in a hurry, don't even worry. It's too simple not to do. It's the little things that make a better you, a better you.